Meet Ueli Steck, the master of the mountains, known for his hard, fast, and light style.
What you want to climb, how you want to climb. On the end, I think it doesn't matter how fast, how high. I think it's important.
Chasing the impossible. He shattered records like speed soloing the North Face of the Eiger. But what happens when even the best can fall? In a shocking twist during a dangerous training for surviving the unforgiving Everest, Ueli slipped and plummeted over 1,000 meters, sending shockwaves through the climbing world. What can we learn from his legacy? Let's explore the haunting message left by the ghosts of the past. There are climbers, and then there are legends, those who redefine what is humanly possible. One misstep could mean the end. Ueli Steck was one of them, a master of the mountains, a speed-climbing phenomenon who danced along razor-thin ridges where a single misstep meant death. He climbed with precision, grace, and a fearlessness that made him almost mythical. But was it possible to conquer the impossible? In April 2017, Steck was preparing for what would have been one of the most ambitious feats in mountaineering history, a daring traverse of Everest and Lhotse without supplemental oxygen. To acclimatize, he set out alone on Nuptse, a treacherous peak neighboring Everest. But something went terribly wrong. The Swiss machine, who had conquered countless deadly peaks, fell thousands of feet to his death. What happened in those final moments? Why did a climber of his caliber make a fatal mistake? Stay with us till the end as we reveal the tragic story of Ueli Steck's last climb. Ueli Steck wasn't just a climber. He was a phenomenon. Born in 1976 in Langnau, Switzerland, he grew up surrounded by the breathtaking peaks of the Alps. From a young age, the mountains called to him, and by the time he was 17 years old, he was already climbing some of the most dangerous faces in the world. Steck quickly made a name for himself with his unparalleled speed and technical skill. He didn't just climb mountains, he flew up them. He shattered records like his legendary ascent of the Eiger North Face, which he first completed in just 3 hours and 54 minutes. That record wouldn't last long, because he broke it himself, eventually setting a mind-blowing time of 2 hours, 22 minutes. His feats earned him the nickname, the Swiss Machine, a testament to his relentless drive, precision, and near-superhuman endurance. But Steck wasn't just about speed. He was a visionary. He pushed the boundaries of what was possible in alpinism, often climbing alone, without ropes, and in extreme conditions. Yet such incredible feats came at a cost. The high-stakes world of extreme mountaineering is a brutal game of risk and reward, where every step could be your last. Steck understood this better than anyone. He had survived avalanches, near-fatal falls, and the brutal conditions of the Himalayas. But on April 30th, 2017, even the Swiss machine met a challenge he could not overcome. For Ueli Steck, conquering mountains wasn't enough. He wanted to rewrite the limits of human endurance. In 2017, he set his sights on an achievement that would cement his legacy as one of the greatest alpinists of all time, a traverse of Mount Everest and Lhotse without supplemental oxygen. This was no ordinary climb. The plan involved summiting Everest via the treacherous West Ridge and Hornbeam Couloir, a route so dangerous that only a handful of climbers have ever survived it. After reaching the summit of Everest, Steck intended to descend and immediately push onward to Lhotse, 8,516 meters, the fourth highest mountain in the world. Climbing Everest is already an extraordinary challenge. Doing it without bottled oxygen is something only the strongest climbers can survive. But to then continue directly to another 8,000-meter peak, that was a feat bordering on impossible. Why did Steck choose this route? Because impossible was his playground. He thrived on pushing beyond what others believed was survivable. But Steck also understood the brutal dangers of the Himalayas, the unpredictable weather, the brutal winds, and the ever-present risk of avalanches. As he prepared for the expedition, he knew he needed to be in peak condition. That's why, in late April 2017, he set out to acclimatize on Nuptse, a 7,861-meter peak near Everest. It was meant to be a training climb, a warm-up for the real challenge ahead. Instead, it became his final ascent. To succeed in his Everest-Lhotse traverse, Ueli Steck needed to acclimatize. His body had to adapt to the thin, oxygen-starved air of the Himalayas. Originally, he wasn't supposed to climb alone. His partner, Tenji Sherpa, was set to accompany him on this historic expedition. But early in their preparation, Tenji suffered frostbite, forcing him to step back. Rather than wait, Steck made a decision that would prove fatal. He chose to continue his acclimatization solo, targeting Nuptse, 7,861 meters, a neighboring peak known for its sheer rock faces and unstable snowfields. It wasn't just a warm-up climb, it was a test of his endurance, balance, and ability to survive alone at high altitudes. Climbing solo wasn't new to him. In fact, Steck preferred it. No ropes, no backup, just his skill and instincts. He had cheated death countless times, moving fast and light, relying on his unmatched ability to read the mountain. But Nuptse was different. Its icy ridges and crumbling rock had claimed lives before. And on April 30th, 2017, as Steck set out alone, no one knew it would be the last time he'd ever climb. Before we continue with the video and further explanation about his fatal climb on Nuptse, I want to ask for your help. I'm a small channel trying to reach 1,000 subs, so I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and help me out. Okay, let's continue. April 30th, 2017. The sun rose over the Himalayas, casting an eerie glow over the jagged ridges of Everest and its neighboring peaks. Ueli Steck, alone and determined, set out for his solo acclimatization climb on Nuptse. This was meant to be just another test, another day of training in his lifelong obsession with high-altitude mastery. But the Himalayas are unforgiving. At 6,600 meters, 21,653 feet, eyewitnesses at Everest Base Camp saw him moving swiftly, as he always did, his silhouette small against the vast icy face of the mountain. Then, a sudden slip, a blur of movement, and the unimaginable happened. Steck plummeted over 1,000 meters, 3,080 feet, down the steep face of Nuptse. No chance to react, no time to catch himself. The mountain he had danced upon so effortlessly had betrayed him in a single moment. For nearly an hour, no one realized what had happened. At first, people at base camp assumed he had simply moved out of sight. But as time passed and no radio check-ins came, worry turned into dread. A search team was dispatched, and when they finally reached the lower slopes of Nuptse, they found his body in the snow, lifeless. There were no ropes, no protection, just the silent mountain and the stillness of death. But what caused his fall? A misstep? A patch of unstable ice? Fatigue from the thin air? No one will ever know for sure. What's clear is that even for a climber of his caliber, the line between mastery and tragedy is razor thin. The mountains had finally claimed the Swiss machine. As the news of his death spread, the climbing world was left in shock. How could a man who seemed invincible, who had survived some of the most dangerous ascents on Earth, be gone just like that? The answer was simple. In the mountains, no one is invincible. The news of Ueli Steck's death sent shockwaves through the mountaineering world. A man known for his incredible precision, speed, and resilience was suddenly gone. How could someone so skilled, so seemingly untouchable, die like this? Tributes poured in from climbers, adventurers, and fans worldwide. A true inspiration, some called him. An artist of the impossible, said others. Reinhold Messner, one of history's greatest alpinists, remarked that Steck had pushed the boundaries of what was humanly possible. But in the mountains, even the best are never safe. In Kathmandu, a somber ceremony was held, attended by fellow climbers, Sherpas, and friends who had shared expeditions with him. His body was flown back to Switzerland, where the mountaineering community gathered to honor the man who had redefined modern alpinism. Beyond his personal achievements, Steck's death also reignited debates about the risks of extreme solo climbing. Should climbers push their limits this far? Should more safety measures be in place? Steck himself had answered this question many times before. The mountains are dangerous, but that's the game we play. His legacy, however, goes beyond risk. He inspired an entire generation to dream bigger, climb harder, and never let fear stop them. His records may one day be broken, but his spirit, his relentless pursuit of the impossible, will live on in the hearts of climbers forever. Ueli Steck was more than just a climber. He was a force of nature. His speed, skill, and boldness made him one of the greatest alpinists in history. But in the mountains, even the strongest are vulnerable. His tragic fall on Nuptse was a reminder of the brutal reality of high-altitude climbing. The thrill, the danger, the breathtaking beauty, it all comes at a cost. Steck knew the risks. He had spent his life chasing the impossible, balancing on the razor's edge between triumph and tragedy. And in the end, the mountains had the final word. Beyond the personal tragedy, Steck's death also shed light on the environmental impact of extreme mountaineering. Everest and its surrounding peaks are becoming crowded with climbers, leaving behind waste, oxygen tanks, and footprints on fragile ecosystems. As more people chase records, the question remains, how much can the mountains take before they fight back? At the same time, modern technology like drones is being used to improve safety in extreme environments, offering climbers better reconnaissance and rescue capabilities. Perhaps if Steck had access to such tools, his fate might have been different. Yet despite the dangers, the challenges, and the ultimate cost, the spirit of climbing endures. Ueli Steck's legacy is not just in the records he set, but in the inspiration he left behind. He proved that limits exist only to be shattered. And though he may be gone, his story, his passion, his daring, his mastery will live forever in the heights he conquered. If you agree with this, please give this video a like. Thank you for showing your support by sharing this video, and thank you for watching. What do you think about the risks he took? Let me know in the comments below.